I'm not doing a speech on physics, so try and bear with me. But I'm glad we made it through the year. It's sad to see it come to a close, but it's a new beginning to something different in our lives. And the biggest question I ask myself is why Project Change. And going a couple years back, in 2008, 2009, my parents, they transitioned from Montgomery County, which I grew up in Silver Spring. They transitioned from Montgomery County to Prince George's County. And once that happened, it's sort of tough to digest. As a teenager, think about losing all your high school friends and, which was fine. It was okay. But the reality came in that I would become a commuter. I learned what it meant to be in rush hour traffic, and that was okay. That was okay. And I adjusted. It was tough, and but fast forward in my last semester at Howard University, I spoke with my supervisor from Wake Up, which is a small nonprofit in D.C. I said, what do you suggest? What do you suggest I do? And she suggested AmeriCorps, because she was an alum, and I said AmeriCorps, okay, but where? And she suggested Impact, Alabama, and I'm not a huge advocate for the South. Silver Spring is my home, so I did some more research, and I found Project Change. And, I continued. I did some more research, and I wondered, what can I do to give back and do something that's more meaningful and significant? And I found the YMCA. And, I was a little hesitant at first. I didn't know what to expect, but, the whole year has been great, and I learned a lot about myself. As I was putting the speech together, I was speaking with Greg, and at our after-school program, we use video games and sports as a way to build relationships and connections with these students. And that's their comfort zone. As a high school student, that's their comfort zone. Video games, Super Smash Bros., Madden, whether I'm winning or losing, I'm still hearing these amazing stories being shared. And, I can recall that, throughout the year, I had no experience in being a referee, and, soccer, basketball, whatever it may be, I stepped up and I had to be a ref. It was very horrifying when you have 50 people, 50 teenagers yelling at you for a missed foul or a missed call. I'm not no expert, but it was a challenge. But, throughout the year, I made relationships and I became attached to the students. And even as a youngster, I can recall, playing sports with my siblings and cousins several years older than me. It wasn't only a way for us to compete with each other, but, we shared stories, and we shared stories with each other, and that's what happened throughout the entire year. And from the first couple of days working for the Y, I really wondered to myself, how can I build relationships with these kids? And, I went out on a risk. I went out on a limb. I took a chance, and Tyler, a senior at Einstein, was one of the more popular kids throughout the school. He's very, very tall. He's probably 6'5", 6'6". I'm 5'7", so, looking up to him, especially a teenager, can be a little bit intimidating, but it was fun. It was a gradual experience, and, we've made the most of it. And occasionally he'd come to our after-school program. He was in and out typically. And if he were to come by, he'd drop by to play basketball. And throughout the year, I had several conversations with him about his life plans, his goals for his future, and he told me that, I plan on going to Texas A&M to become an Aggie, study engineering, and to be on the marching band. And with that said, he wasn't always the easiest person to deal with. At 6'5", he had a lot of personality. Everyone in the school even looked up to him, and we had our occasional clashes. But from time to time, I had to remind him of his greatness, and he wasn't necessarily classified as a troublemaker. He just needed someone to prove to him that they cared enough to say something. And I challenged him as a leader, and as the year was coming to a close, I put him on the spot, in front of several of his friends towards the end of the year, and I told him, I expect more. I expect more out of him as a person, as a student, and as a leader. And, I can recall what I told him. I just said, you are a leader. Leaders are better than this. And as I was saying all this, at 5'7", most of his friends on the bus, as I was transporting kids, are a lot taller than me, so, everyone's looking down on me. So it was a little intimidating. My voice got a little squeaky, a little high-pitched. But after that, he walked off the bus. He didn't have much to say. And 30 minutes later or so, once all the kids are in the pool, everything's settled, he apologized. He said sorry. He said my bad. He didn't say sorry. He said my bad. That's the thing high school kids say today. And he gave me a fist bump and said I have ADHD, and he walked off. But I think that whole experience proves something to me, that as a youth development worker, it meant something for him. It meant something for him, for someone to say something, for someone to challenge him, and for someone to prove to him that I care. And I saw him not too long ago. I saw him about a week ago at his graduation, and we didn't say much. He's not a huge conversation person, so I walked up to him, gave him a hug, told him I was proud of him. And granted, it was an achievement in itself, and I guess to close out the year, I'd like to thank Project Change. It's been a bumpy ride. It's had its challenges, but what story doesn't? It was fun, and I'm definitely going to miss our Friday morning meetings, the trainings, the amazing stories shared amongst my colleagues, and the free food, of course. And more importantly, I'd like to thank Patty and Ashley. They're right here. They saw something in me, and they brought me on board, and I'm very thankful for the experience, for being a part of the Y. I've learned a lot about myself, and thank you. And Judy, of course, founder of Project Change, and Paul Costello, he's in the back room over there. I'd like to be like you when I grow up, so. And thank you.